Imagine a man so wealthy that his fortune could eclipse the modern billionaires of our world. A man whose name was synonymous with gold, whose empire stretched across a continent, and whose generosity reshaped the economies of distant lands. This is the story of Mansa Musa, the 14th-century king of the Mali Empire, the richest man to ever live. But behind the glittering facade of his wealth lies a tale untold, a love story so tragic, it challenges everything we believe about power, wealth, and the human heart. Why don't the world's richest men find love? To answer that, we must journey back to a time when one man's love reshaped an empire, and broke his heart. The Mali Empire, under Mansa Musa's reign, was a marvel of the medieval world, a kingdom where gold flowed like rivers and salt was worth its weight in dreams. Born around 1280, Musa ascended the throne in 1312, inheriting a realm built on the twin pillars of gold and salt. Commodities that made Mali the wealthiest empire of its time. His reign was a golden age, marked by thriving cities like Timbuktu, Gao, and Niani, and a cultural renaissance that drew scholars, poets, and traders from across the Islamic world. But it was his wealth that made him a legend, a fortune so vast it defies comprehension. Adjusted for inflation, his net worth could be $400 billion today, dwarfing even the richest modern tycoons. Yet, this is not just a story of gold and empires. It's a story of a man who loved deeply and lost profoundly, whose heart was torn by the very wealth that made him immortal. Her name was Kassa, the queen who held his heart in a court of ambition and intrigue. Their love, a rare flame in a world of political alliances, would become a tragedy that echoes through the centuries, mirrored in the struggles of today's billionaires, men like Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk, whose fortunes cannot buy the love they seek. Join me as we unravel this tale, from the sun-scorched sands of the Sahara to the glass towers of Silicon Valley, and ask, what is wealth without love? The Mali Empire in the 14th century was a beacon of wealth and culture, its borders stretching across modern-day Mali, Senegal, Guinea, and parts of Mauritania. Its capital, Niani, buzzed with life, markets overflowing with gold nuggets, kola nuts, and ivory, mosques gleaming under the Sahelian sun, and griots singing tales of kings and heroes. Timbuktu, the empire's intellectual heart, was home to Sankore University, where scholars debated astronomy, mathematics, and Islamic law, their manuscripts preserved in libraries that rivaled Baghdad's. The empire's wealth came from its control of the trans-Saharan trade routes, where gold from the Bambuk and Baray mines and salt from the Tagaza mines were traded for cloth, spices, and knowledge. Mansa Musa, born into the Keita dynasty, was no ordinary king. Tall and broad-shouldered, with a commanding presence, he wore flowing robes of silk and gold, his turban adorned with ostrich feathers. His voice was deep, his gaze piercing, but his smile, rare and warm, could light up the court. He was a devout Muslim, his faith guiding his rule, yet he was also a pragmatist, forging alliances with Berber tribes and Songhai chiefs to secure Mali's dominance. His wealth was staggering. The empire produced half the world's gold, and salt, vital for preserving food, was traded at a premium. Musa's treasury was said to hold vaults of gold dust, bars, and ornaments, guarded by warriors whose loyalty was as unyielding as the Sahara's heat. His 1324 pilgrimage to Mecca, known as the Hajj, cemented his legend. Leading a caravan of 60,000 men, including 12,000 slaves clad in Persian silk, Musa crossed the Sahara with 80 camels, each carrying 300 pounds of gold. His entourage included scholars, poets, and soldiers, their banners fluttering in the desert wind. Along the way, he distributed gold to the poor, built mosques in cities like Gao, and gifted treasures to rulers in Cairo and Medina. In Cairo, his generosity was so lavish, handing out gold nuggets to merchants and beggars alike, that the price of gold plummeted, crashing the economy for a decade. The world took notice. Arab chroniclers like Ibn Battuta wrote of Musa's splendor, and European mapmakers began marking Timbuktu on their charts. But Musa was more than a wealthy king. He was a visionary, funding libraries, inviting scholars like Al-Amari to Timbuktu, and establishing Mali as a hub of Islamic learning. His mosques, like the Jingareber in Timbuktu, still stand, their mud brick walls a testament to his legacy. He strengthened trade ties with North Africa and the Middle East, ensuring Mali's prosperity. Yet, for all his power, Musa's heart belonged to Kassa, the woman who stood by his side, her love a quiet strength amid the empire's clamor. Kassa was no ordinary queen. Born to a noble Mandinka family in the empire's southern provinces, she was known for her beauty. Ebony skin, almond-shaped eyes, and a smile that could hush a room. But it was her intellect and courage that set her apart. Educated in Quranic studies and Mandinka oral traditions, she could recite poetry, debate scholars, and charm diplomats with her wit. Her laughter was a melody, her presence a balm, and her love for music and storytelling shaped Mali's cultural flowering. Griots sang of her grace, comparing her to the Niger River, life-giving, unyielding, and deep. Musa and Kassa's marriage, around 1310, was a rare love match in a world where royal unions were forged for power. They met during a festival in Niani, where Kassa, then 18, performed a poem she'd written, her words weaving tales of Mali's past and dreams of its future. Musa, a young prince, was captivated, his heart stirred by her voice and her fire. Their courtship was unconventional, stolen moments by the Niger, debates under baobab trees, and promises whispered under starlit skies. When Musa became Mansa, he chose Kassa as his queen, defying advisors who urged a political alliance with a Songhai or Wolof princess. In the early years, their love was a partnership. Kassa was Musa's confidant, her counsel shaping his policies. She encouraged his patronage of Timbuktu's scholars, her love for poetry inspiring festivals where griots and poets competed. She championed women's roles in the empire, ensuring girls studied alongside boys in Sankor's classrooms. In private, they were equals, sharing dreams of a Mali that would outlast their lives. They'd sit in the palace gardens, the scent of hibiscus in the air, planning mosques and trade routes, their laughter mingling with the rustle of palm fronds. But the weight of Musa's wealth and power began to cast a shadow. His empire demanded constant attention, trade disputes with Tuareg nomads, rebellions in the Gao region, and diplomatic missions to Morocco. Kassa, though a queen, faced scrutiny from the court, where patriarchal traditions questioned her influence. Advisors whispered that a woman's role was to bear heirs, not to shape policy. Musa's wealth attracted suitors and concubines, a common practice in Mali's polygamous court, but Kassa, fiercely independent, refused to share her husband's heart. The tension simmered, a quiet rift in their once unbreakable bond. The pilgrimage and the distance. In 1324, Musa embarked on his Hajj, a journey driven by faith but also by ambition, to showcase Mali's power to the Islamic world. The pilgrimage, spanning nearly 2 years, took him across the Sahara to Mecca, a 4,000-mile odyssey through deserts and oases. His caravan was a spectacle, camels laden with gold, slaves carrying water and provisions, and scholars reciting the Quran under the stars. Musa's generosity was boundless. He built a mosque every Friday, gifted gold to rulers, and fed the poor in every city. In Cairo, he met with the Mamluk Sultan, his gifts forging alliances that strengthened Mali's trade. But the pilgrimage came at a cost. Kassa remained in Niani, ruling as regent in Musa's absence, a role that tested her strength. The court was a viper's nest, with advisors like the vizier Suleiman plotting to undermine her. They spread rumors that a woman could not hold the empire, urging Musa to take a second wife for political gain. Kassa navigated these threats with grace, settling disputes, overseeing trade, and ensuring the empire's stability. Yet, the distance from Musa weighed heavily. Letters between them, carried by camel couriers, were slow and often lost, their words fading in the desert heat. Kassa's letters, preserved in oral traditions, spoke of her love and fears. "My heart travels with you, Mansa," she wrote, "but the court grows cold without your light." Musa's replies, when they reached her, were filled with promises. "Kassa, my queen, you are Mali's soul. I will return to you. But the empire's demands and the court's intrigues created a chasm. When Musa returned in 1326, he was a global legend, his name whispered in Cairo and Baghdad. Yet, the man Kassa loved seemed changed, his eyes distant, his heart weighed by the crown's burden. The court became a gilded cage for Kassa. Musa's fame brought new pressures, families offering daughters as concubines, allies demanding marriage alliances, and advisors pushing for heirs. Though Musa remained devoted, the expectation of polygamy strained their bond. Kassa's refusal to accept concubines sparked tension, her independence clashing with tradition. Jealousy crept in, fanned by Suleiman, who saw Kassa's influence as a threat to his power. She began to withdraw, her laughter replaced by a quiet sorrow, her poetry silenced by the weight of her role. The final blow came in 1335, 2 years before Musa's death. A rebellion in the empire's eastern provinces, led by Songhai dissidents, required Musa's attention. The uprising threatened Mali's trade routes, and Musa, ever the dutiful king, led his army to quell it. Kassa, battling a lingering illness, perhaps malaria, worsened by stress, pleaded for him to stay. "The empire can wait, my love," she whispered, her voice weak, her hand clutching his. But duty called, and Musa, torn between love and responsibility, promised to return swiftly. While Musa was away, Kassa's health deteriorated. The palace, once her sanctuary, became a prison, its mud brick walls closing in. She wrote letters to Musa, pouring out her love and fears, her ink-stained fingers trembling. "I see you in the stars, Mansa," she wrote, "but I fear I will not see you again." The griots say these letters never reached him, intercepted by Suleiman, who sought to weaken Kassa's hold on the king. Alone, tended by loyal maids but shunned by the court, Kassa grew weaker, her spirit fading with her body. In the spring of 1335, Kassa died, her heart broken by the empire that had united them. The palace mourned in silence, the griots' songs muted, the air heavy with hibiscus and grief. When Musa returned, victorious but weary, he found the palace draped in mourning cloths. He fell to his knees beside Kassa's empty chamber, his cries echoing through the halls. The man who had given gold to the world was powerless, his wealth unable to bring her back. Griots sing of his grief, how he tore his robes, how he fasted for days, his tears watering the earth where Kassa once walked. Musa built a mosque in her honor, its minaret soaring above Niani, its walls adorned with verses she loved. He named it Masjid al-Kassa, a testament to her legacy, its dome gleaming under the Sahelian sun. But nothing could fill the void. Musa ruled for 2 more years, his empire thriving, but his heart was buried with Kassa. In 1337, he died, some say of a broken heart, others of a fever. His son, Magan I, inherited the throne, but the empire's golden age dimmed without Musa's vision, and Kassa's spirit. Fast forward 7 centuries, and the names have changed, but the story feels eerily familiar. Jeff Bezos, founder of Amazon, once the world's richest man with a net worth peaking at $200 billion, built an empire that delivers everything from books to groceries. Elon Musk, the maverick behind Tesla, SpaceX, and Neuralink, has topped $250 billion, his vision reshaping transportation and space exploration. Their wealth commands global influence, yet their personal lives are marked by turmoil, heartbreak, and public scrutiny. Bezos's 2019 divorce from Mackenzie Scott, after 25 years of marriage, was a $38 billion shockwave. The couple, who met at Princeton and built Amazon together, seemed unshakable, yet their split revealed cracks, rumors of infidelity, the pressure of Bezos's empire, and the isolation of his wealth. His relationship with Lauren Sanchez, a media personality, has been hounded by tabloids, their every move dissected. Musk's romantic history is a roller coaster: 3 marriages to Justine Wilson and Tallulah Riley, high-profile relationships with Amber Heard and Grimes, and public feuds that expose his loneliness. Musk has tweeted about his struggles with connection, admitting, I'm just a fool for love. Why does love elude these men? Wealth, at first glance, should simplify romance. Security, status, and luxuries abound. But extreme wealth creates a chasm. Trust erodes. How do you know if someone loves you or your billions?